while addressing reporters after the launch of the revised National School Code of Conduct at the Ministry of Education on Wednesday.
The aim is to ensure that we have a safe and a more consistent area where students could feel that sense of comfort to learn and not to be involved in violence. So as long as it takes the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, we commit ourselves to be there and to ensure a safer and better Trinidad and Tobago.
DCP Benjamin added that police are actively responding to and managing incidents of school fights as part of their ongoing efforts to maintain safety on the compound.
We are continuing.
In some sport now, Trinidad and Tobago's hopes of qualifying for the 2027 FIFA Men's Under-20 World Cup ended on Wednesday with a 3-0 defeat to Costa Rica in Group E of the CONCACAF qualifiers. Costa Rica's Dax Palmer opened the scoring in the 20th minute, finding the back of the net to hand the hosts a 1-0 advantage at the halftime whistle. He returned after the break in commanding form, netting twice in the second half to complete his hat-trick and put the result beyond doubt. The victory proved decisive as Trinidad and Tobago finished third in Group E with 7 points. The outcome officially brought their qualification campaign to an end, with the team falling short of advancing to the next stage of the competition. And that's what's making the news this morning. But joining us right now is the host of Trinidad and Tobago Today, Virmala Balkaran. Good morning, Virmala.
Good morning, Carrie. How are you this morning?
I am good so far. What about you?
I'm doing great. It's a good Thursday morning. You know, it's nice and early.
You don't seem so excited. But here, last evening, residents of St. Anne's and Cascade reported a massive bushfire. I mean, we are in bushfire season, it's dry season, these things happen, but it was, you know, it was a big one yesterday.
Yeah. You know, last week we actually spoke to the relevant authorities about this bushfire season, and it is definitely one that is becoming a little bit out of control. So, you know, hopefully people take the necessary precautions whenever you're handling fires. And, you know, sometimes it's unavoidable as well, but we're waiting to get the story on this.
It doesn't directly relate, but you know the old people saying if your neighbor house on fire, wet yours?
Yeah.
I think in this case you need to, you know, keep vigilant in that same way.
Yeah, so the residents of St. Anne's and Cascade were really affected. So, you know, that's definitely a story we're following closely. And, of course, you can follow all the updates via TTT online.
Yeah, of course, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, all right, Carrie, well, I'll see you later on the show.
All right, looking forward to it, Virmala. Have a good one.
All right, no problem. Bye.
All right, and when we come back, the Trinidad and Tobago Today morning show gets going after this break.
Greetings, hello to you there, and welcome to the CSIT National Secondary Schools Climate Quiz. I'm your host, Sachin Ramsubag, and I am pleased to be part of this great initiative.
You could like a picture, you could like a post or something, and you know, so many other people can see that, right? You might comment on something and think, oh, we're just commenting, but so many other people can see that as well. So I think managing those types of behaviors are also important in a relationship, because while you may not be actively still going out doing something, you might for example, you know, like a post or comment on something that is seemingly inappropriate, and that can cause some kind of friction in your relationship with your spouse.
Yes, you also cannot be naive. If you think by hiding from your spouse, by texting someone, or hiding from your spouse by doing, by using social media, is hiding it from that person, it's open to the public.
Yeah.
So there's somebody else on the end of that text.
Receiving it.
On
Even
receiving
if it's an inbox and it's not public to everyone.
It's in the public domain.
Yes.
So if you're doing something that could violate the trust, the balance of your relationship, and there's another party involved, as you said, like direct messaging or texting, then you're leaving yourself open to exposure anyway.
The Marriage Confessional, only on TTT.
I'm Renee Sion with another edition of Caribbean Week in Review.
Ramadan. Join me, Sherilyn Lewis, for Ramadan Reflections, a weekly television series exploring meaningful conversations on fasting and the significance of the holy month. Airing every Tuesday at 8:05 p.m. on TTT, beginning Tuesday 24th February, we delve into real, relatable topics that inspire spiritual growth, discipline, and understanding during Ramadan. Let's reflect, learn, and grow together this blessed month.
Thursday, 5th March 2026. The time now, it is 6:07 a.m. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago and the world. I'm Virmala Balkaran. Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago Today. Well, let's take a look now at what's trending this morning. The White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt has announced that preparations are underway for a Latin American Security Summit being hosted by the U.S. President Donald Trump in Florida this weekend. Well, you know, Trinidad and Tobago is among 12 countries invited to participate. Take a look at that now.
And with on that, I would also add that this weekend, I'm pleased to announce the President will welcome the heads of state from 12 nations across our Western Hemisphere in Miami, Florida on Saturday. The point of this newfound Latin America Summit is to promote freedom, security, and prosperity in our region. The following countries will be in attendance: Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, Costa Rica, the Dominican Republic, Ecuador, El Salvador, Honduras, Panama, Paraguay, Trinidad and Tobago, and maybe some others as well. And the President will be speaking with the leaders of this country who have really formed a historic coalition to work together to address criminal narco-terrorist gangs and cartels and counter illegal and mass migration into not only the United States but the Western Hemisphere, which remains a key and top priority of this President. Thank you very much, everyone, and you'll see the President yourself.
Of course, we'll have all the details from Prime Minister Kamla Prasad-Bisas's visit on all TTT's platforms, and of course, we will discuss on Trinidad and Tobago today. Well, now to this. The government has published the Emergency Powers Regulations 2026, setting out sweeping powers that will apply for the duration of the current state of emergency. The regulations expand the authority of law enforcement, allowing police to stop and search individuals, conduct searches and arrests without warrants, and also detain suspects up to 48 hours or as long as 7 days with approval. Now, authorities can also impose curfews, restrict a person's movement or association, and designate protected places with limited access. The regulations also introduce preventive detention powers and make offenses like possession of illegal weapons or prison-related contraband punishable by fines up to $100,000 and up to 5 years imprisonment. Well, the Ministry of Education has also revised the National School Code of Conduct to strengthen safety, transparency, and accountability across the education system. The updated code outlines the rules and expectations of students, parents, teachers, administrators, and school-based police officers, which reflects legislative changes, technological advancements, and modern school realities. Built on core values like respect, responsibility, integrity, equity, the revised code promotes a student-centered, restorative approach to discipline, aiming to create safe, supportive, and productive learning environments where every child can learn and thrive. And tomorrow we will speak to the minister, who will elaborate a little bit more on this topic. And in other news now, The National Trade Union Center of Trinidad and Tobago, NATUC, has responded to the government's declaration of a state of emergency on Tuesday by condemning crime while supporting lawful and constitutional measures that protect the citizens. However, the organization stressed that the emergency powers must be temporary, proportionate, and subject to democratic oversight. NATUC then warned that workers' constitutional and industrial rights must not be undermined and insisted that collective agreements, grievances or grievance procedures, due process, and protection against arbitrary detention, dismissal, or victimization must remain in place. Well, today we focus heavily on the Sister Isle Tobago, from crime and social initiatives to music and entertainment. We'll talk all things Tobago. And also, we continue our discussions on Ramadan with a focus on diabetes and fasting when we come back on Trinidad and Tobago Today.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون.
This powerful verse from the Holy Quran invites us to embrace reflection, self-discipline, and spiritual renewal. Join us daily on TTT Limited for special Ramadan features, inspiring messages, heartfelt moments of devotion, and reflections that uplift our nation.
In a world filled with uncertainty, there is still hope. When the weight feels heavy and the night feels long, remember, your story isn't over. God's promises are still true, His love is still strong, and your breakthrough is still coming. Join us for Messages of Hope, Words of Encouragement with Pastor Jesse, presented by Youth Fires. Hope lives here, only on TTT.
Greetings, hello to you there, and welcome to the CZIT National Secondary Schools Climate Quiz. I'm your host Sachin Ramsubag, and I am pleased to be part of this great initiative.
I'm Renee Sion with another edition of Caribbean Week in Review.
Hey young ones, TTT's Terrific Toon Time is just for you. It's fun, it's exciting, and it's adventure-filled too. Join us as we follow the characters you know and love. See what our hero Zach gets up to in Super Z. Dive into the action with Bugs Butt Ignition. Put on your explorer's cap and join Dada and Dada on their next adventure. And of course, we can't forget our cosmic friends on Galaxy Kids. Don't miss it. It's Terrific Toon Time only on TTT.
Ever wondered what happens before the lights come on? Before the crowd pours in? Before the magic hits the stage? This is your all-access pass. Sneak Peek with Junior K takes you behind the scenes of the biggest cultural moments and the hottest events across TNT. From the sound checks to the stage setups, from final rehearsals to exclusive interviews. If it's about to be big, we're already there. Catch Sneak Peek airing daily on TTT and relive every moment on all our social media platforms. Sneak Peek with Junior K, where the story starts before the spotlight.
Welcome back to Trinidad and Tobago today. A beautiful Thursday, 5th March. Hope you're having a great morning. Well, St. Anthony's College marked a monumental moment in history with the unveiling of a peace pole on campus, symbolizing the institution's continued commitment to unity, respect, and global harmony. Now, this was a joint collaboration between the Port of Spain Rotary Club and the school.
We are creating peace builders. We are building an army of peace builders. That's how I like to think of them.
District Governor for Rotary District 7030, Soraya Warner-Gustav, shared these sentiments as St. Anthony's College marked a historic moment on Wednesday with the erection of a peace pole, a monument not only intended to inspire peace, unity and goodwill throughout the college, but the world at large. Ms. Warner-Gustav explained the true meaning behind the event.
Right, because what we are creating are young persons focused on service, focused on peace, focused on integrity, focused on ethical leadership. And that is the importance of the peace pole.
The peace pole was inscribed with the message, "May peace prevail on earth," in 4 languages, according to the president of the Rotary Club of Port of Spain, Anne-Marie Lal. She reflects the diverse communities and cultures united in their commitment to promoting peace.
We all have one thing in common, which is to have peace. And we have "May peace prevail on earth" in 4 languages: English, Spanish, French, and Arabic. And the reason we chose those other languages was because at the school we teach Spanish and French, so the majority of our school population speaks those 2 languages, and we have a lot of Muslims in our school, hence we put the Arabic.
Service Project Chair and representative of the Rotary Club of Port of Spain, Richard Thomas, noted that the erection of the peace pole is part of a broader initiative focused on community development.
We look at the environment, we look at education, we look at social, we look at the community. Right? And we have a budget every year that would cover all these items.
President of the Interact Club at St. Anthony's College, Soraya Jones, summed up the message of peace.
Peace takes over everything. We always be peaceful in our actions and everything we do.
Well, while Trinidad continues to grapple with serious concerns surrounding gang activity, organized crime, and the ongoing state of emergency, the conversation in Tobago appears to be somewhat different. Authorities there are saying that the island continues to experience relatively low levels of serious and organized crime. In fact, the Tobago House of Assembly, as you may remember earlier this week, indicated that there has been no evidence of escalating gang activity or coordinated criminal networks on the island, with only 1 murder recorded so far this year. But that raises several important questions, right? Is Tobago truly insulated from the kind of organized crime networks affecting Trinidad? Or could some criminal activity be flying under the radar due to the island's smaller size and policing structure? And how exactly does Tobago's security strategy differ, especially when it comes to the state of emergency, prison management, and the influence of organized crime operating out of Trinidad's prison system? Well, let's unpack that this morning. Joining us to discuss all of this is Assistant Commissioner of Police for Tobago and the Eastern Division, Michael Pierre, and Administrative Superintendent Joseph. Good morning, gentlemen, and thank you for joining us via Zoom today.
Good morning, Virmala, and good morning to the viewing public.
All right, well...
Good morning, ma'am, and good morning to the viewing public.
All right, thank you so much, and we appreciate you taking the time to be here with us. Well, Assistant Commissioner Pierre, authorities have indicated that Tobago continues to experience low levels of serious crime compared to Trinidad. So from a policing perspective, how would you currently describe the security situation on the island?
Well, as always, the security on the island has been at optimum level. I mean, we can do certain little adjustments, but at present, we are all out there functioning, and we have a good security system on the island because we correlate with all the other security agencies to perform our duties in the Tobago Division.
Yeah. Superintendent Joseph, we've also heard that there's no evidence of escalating gang activity or coordinated crime networks in Tobago. Now, do you think that's because these groups truly do not exist on the island, or on a controversial point, could it be that they are operating in ways that are less visible or harder to detect?
Yes, well, while authorities have stated that there is no clear evidence of escalating gang activity or coordinated criminal networks in Tobago, this does not mean that we are complacent. Smart law enforcement recognizes that criminal enterprise can adapt its methods. It may be that in the absence of overt violence, smaller or less visible groups could exist, but our intelligence-led approach is structured specifically to detect and disrupt any such activity before it becomes entrenched.
Well, gentlemen, many of the criminal networks in Trinidad are organized, and sometimes, as we heard, from all the discussions we've been having, is from within the prison system. So from your intelligence, your investigation, your expertise, are there indications or any indications that these organized networks are trying to extend their reach in Tobago, perhaps?
Now, what I would say to that is that we must consider that whilst Tobago is safe, and whilst the criminal networks may not have infiltrated Tobago as much as the sister isle, the other island, the fact of the matter is preventative policing is always paramount. We know that we have safety here, so we have to keep that safety network so that our island visitors, tourists, etc., would always feel safe. So we would continue to utilize all the networks that we have to ensure that the safety remains at optimum level.
Officers, I want to turn our attention now to the state of emergency. This is something the THA also addressed. And the SOE was largely declared in response to gang violence and organized crime activity in Trinidad, right? So how does the implementation of the state of emergency really affect Tobago, given that the THA has said that the crime dynamics there appear to be a little bit different?
I can take that one. Yes, well, the state of emergency was declared in response to a sustained surge in violent crime. Focus on violent crime and gang-linked activity predominantly in Trinidad. In Tobago, our crime dynamics remain different. Our implementation of any enhanced measures under the state of emergency is proportionate, intelligence-led, and driven by a local crime context. We are committed to preserving the public safety while limiting unnecessary disruption to lawful community life and economic activity.
Yeah, well, Tobago is definitely a smaller island with tight-knit communities. So does that make policing easier in terms of intelligence gathering, community cooperation, or even the early detection of criminal activity?
What I would say to that is that the people of Tobago are very proud of the island. And yes, it's a tight-knit community where persons are always willing to communicate with the police and ensure that, that level of violence is kept at a low. So it does make it easier to police Tobago. However, as I said before, prevention is better than cure. So we have to keep that preventative policing at the optimum level at all times.
Yeah. Officers, earlier this week, we had discussions with a criminologist. And one of the points coming out of that discussion is that there is a concern nationally that there is the influence of prison networks in directing crime outside of the prison walls. Can you tell me if that's something that Tobago is affected by in the same way as it affects Trinidad, or do you think the dynamics are quite different?
Well, is the influence of prison-linked networks on crime outside the prison walls, right? To date, we have not observed evidence that such influences are driving criminal activity here in Tobago in the same way as they are reported to do in Trinidad. That said, we remain attentive and we exchange real-time intelligence with the correctional and national security agencies so that we are aware of and we can disrupt any attempts by external actors to influence local criminality.
Mr. Pierre, I want to go a step further now and really compare Tobago and Trinidad. What would you say are the major differences in the types of security challenges that the police face in Tobago compared to Trinidad?
Now, we must bear in mind it's Trinidad and Tobago, and whatsoever strategies that we implement from the executive level, it is executed across Trinidad and Tobago. You would have the differences in that Tobago being an island division, and that tight-knit community, there is a lesser opening for criminal activity to take place as in Trinidad. Apart from that, there is a greater level of vigilance coming out of the Tobago division, looking for any activity that's untoward, in the direction of crime, so that the prevention will always be at the paramount level.
Yeah. And how important, as we talked about that close-knit community, how important is community cooperation and maintaining, Tobago's relatively safe environment, we would say, and how do the residents play that role in helping the police to keep the crime levels low?
Mr. Joseph, would you answer that question, please?
Yes, please. Well, when compared to the security challenges of Trinidad and Tobago, right, the scale and the nature of the threats differ markedly. Right, Trinidad has been confronting significant gang-associated violence and organized crime. That has driven the state of emergency. Tobago, by contrast, it experiences far lower instances of that type of violence. Right. Our challenges here tend to be more situational or opportunistic rather than organized or systemic. And of course, we work closely with the community in evidence-based, intelligence-led, and technology-driven policing to ensure that Tobago remains safe.
Yeah. Final question, gentlemen. What message would you like to send to the residents and also the visitors to Tobago about the safety and vigilance during this time of a state of emergency?
Well, I would say, the state of emergency is something that helps to protect the peace of the nation, Trinidad and Tobago. And in Tobago, we have welcomed that state of emergency. And to our visitors, to all persons, we can say to you that Tobago is safe, Tobago is the island to visit. It's a gem in the Caribbean, and we will continue to invite persons. Come visit the island. The police are there to protect you.
All right. Any closing words from you, Mr. Joseph?
Yes, well, my message to the residents and the visitors is one of reassurance and mutual responsibility, right? Tobago remains a safe destination, thanks in a large part to the diligence and the cooperation of the people working together with the police, right? We ask that everyone continue to remain vigilant, report concerns promptly, and assist law enforcement as partners in community safety. The police service is committed to upholding security and safeguarding lives and property. And together we will maintain the quality of life that makes Tobago such a cherished place to live, work, and visit. Yes, so thank you.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, very, very much. Have a great day, and we hope to chat with you soon again.
Thank you. On behalf of the Commissioner of Police, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. That was Assistant Commissioner of Police for Tobago and the Eastern Division, Mr. Michael Pear, and Administrative Superintendent Joseph from Tobago. All eyes on Tobago this morning. When we come back, we continue the discussion with an entrepreneur with a knack for culinary skills, from the classroom to kitchen.
You could like a picture, you could like a post or something, and so many other people can see that, right? You might comment on something and think, oh, you're just commenting, but so many other people can see that as well. So I think managing those types of behaviors are also important in a relationship, because while you may not be actively going out doing something, you might for example, like a post or comment on something that is seemingly inappropriate, and that can cause some kind of friction in your relationship with your spouse.
Yes, you also cannot be naive. If you think by hiding from your spouse, by texting someone, or hiding from your spouse by by using social media, is hiding it from that person, it's open to the public.
Yeah.
So there's somebody else on the end of that text.
Receiving it.
Even
if it's an inbox and it's not public to everyone.
It's in the public domain.
Yes.
So if you're doing something that could violate the trust, the balance of your relationship, and there's another party involved, as you said, like direct messaging or texting, then you're leaving yourself open to exposure anyway.
The Marriage Confessional, only on TTT.
This Ramadan, join me, Charlene Lewis, for Ramadan Reflections, a weekly television series exploring meaningful conversations on fasting and the significance of the holy month. Airing every Tuesday at 8:05 p.m. on TTT, beginning Tuesday 24th February, we delve into real, relatable topics that inspire spiritual growth, discipline, and understanding during Ramadan. Let's reflect, learn, and grow together this blessed month.
In a world filled with uncertainty, there is still hope. When the weight feels heavy and the night feels long, remember, your story isn't over. God's promises are still true, His love is still strong, and your breakthrough is still coming. Join us for Messages of Hope, Words of Encouragement with Pastor Jesse, presented by Youth Fires. Hope lives here, only on TTT.
More news, more access, more ways to stay informed. TTT News covers the stories that matter, on air and online. Join us nightly at 7. TTT News, committed, accurate, relevant.
Well, have you ever had some Tobago wine? Well, chances are the woman behind this is Stacey Herbert. As Tobago continues to explore new avenues for economic growth and diversification, conversations around education, tourism, and industry development are becoming increasingly important. And one voice contributing to this discussion is educator, innovator, and entrepreneur, also winemaker, Stacey Herbert, whose work in the Caribbean wine and industry development has focused on creating opportunities through education and strategic alignment. Well, Stacey joins us this morning to share her perspective on the role of education in economic strategy and the importance of culinary excellence in Tobago's tourism economy and why defining and protecting the island's culinary identity could be key to its global competitiveness. Well, good morning to you, Stacey, and welcome to Trinidad and Tobago Today.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
Well, first things first, Stacey, I have to tell you that Main Ridge Wines is such an amazing brand, so congratulations to you on that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
So you've built a career around education, innovation, Stacey, industry development, all of that, particularly in the Caribbean wine sector. Tell us a little bit about yourself this morning.
Well, for me, I think sometimes it's kind of difficult to say who I am, but as you said, you rightfully said, I'm an educator. So everything I do comes from the perspective of learning in order to educate, right? And I have found that when you get that kind of education, then it allows you to innovate. And it's the same thing. And that is exactly what happened with me where it came to Caribbean non-grape wines, right? I got this book from my grandmother, and it taught you how to make country wines. And from that perspective, I started exploring. It wasn't the traditional way that we did wines, but when I ended up doing gastronomy and food science, I started to understand what it meant to develop flavor, balance, all those kinds of things. And so I brought that knowledge to Caribbean winemaking, non-grape winemaking, and also to the culinary sector because I began to understand what we did traditionally, and I was able to actually not reinvent, but discover what our foreparents did. So yeah, that's who I am. I'm an innovator and I'm an educator. Everything I do comes from that place.
Well, Stacey, you've also been very vocal about a certain problem in Tobago, that it isn't too many graduates, but a lack of alignment between education and the economy. So what do you mean by that, and what changes do you think are needed in the education system?
Right. I mean that if we want diversification of the economy, then the education must align intentionally to serve that vision. So the issue, and Dr. Conrad did talk about that, about there being too many graduates. But for me, the issue is not that. It's strategic alignment between economic and education, the economic direction of Trinidad and Tobago, and the education that we're trying to have happen. At present, people just do what they like. They go into the university, they study accounting, they study management, they study popular careers, right? Study popular things. But if we do not know what we're trying to solve, what problem we're trying to solve in the country, then we just doing things willy-nilly, and it does not align with what we're trying to do. Our country has been saying for quite a number of years, we need to diversify, we need to diversify, we need to diversify. But somehow there isn't a thrust towards a particular thing or things that would inform people on what do they study in order to be able to be a part of that diversification movement.
Yeah. So since you're talking about diversifying, I want to switch a little bit to your culinary side. Now, you've described culinary excellence as part of the infrastructure that supports tourism in Tobago. Why do you think food and culinary standards should be treated as a strategic economic priority at this time for Tobago?
We've been having conversations in the space about the food not meeting up to standard. And if we are a tourism island, we look at tourism as our economic driver. The spine of every single tourism facet, whatever you decide, medical tourism, sports tourism, whatever you decide, everybody has to eat. Everybody remembers what they eat. And when they go to a space, they look for the best food, that kind of thing. And that should not be something that happens haphazardly. You mustn't have to know somebody or have to keep asking where I could get the best food, where I could get the best food. You must be able to find the best food everywhere you go.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Yes.
And so it is the spine of anything that we're doing. That
And you've
culinary excellence.
You've proposed the idea of a Tobago culinary charter, I believe. Tell me about that.
Right. This charter allows you to define our food identity. It sets quality benchmarks. It connects the chefs, cooks, agro-processors with farmers, and ensures that wherever you are, that gives you the opportunity to experience the standards of something that is excellent. For me, this charter also allows us to embed our cultural identity in our food, right? And it doesn't happen haphazardly. We have to plan it. We have to be able to put the things that are needed inside of there. We have to treat our elders and our communities as institutes of learning, document the recipes, talk to them, document the recipes, document the formulas. Well, the what you would call that. Yeah, well, formulas, yes, but just the processes, how we did things and why they did things that way. And so that gives us an opportunity to be able to build that charter in a holistic way, in a way that helps us to articulate what we have. Our history, if you look at Tobago's history, from the transatlantic slave trade, we were colonized 33 times. We changed hands 33 times. And that has influenced our cuisine. It's the only island in the Caribbean that changed hands 33 times. And from that perspective, from that place, we have adopted certain things where it comes to our cooking, right? And so if we do not find a way to figure out what it is, what those things would have contributed to our cuisine, and map it and align the direction of Tobago Hospitality and Tourism Institute, use them to help us to be able to do that, then we wouldn't be able to do this thing that I'm envisioning in my mind. Create a charter, do something about it. I'm sure you've come to Tobago before, and the food sometimes could be a hit and miss. So we need to do something about this, and it's all about the diversification of the economy in Tobago.
Well, Stacey, you definitely come from a very experienced place, a wealth of knowledge, especially in the culinary area, and also these wines that I really want to talk about. So you said you learned this from your grandma's book. I'm seeing some of your wines on the screen right now. Tell us about these wines.
So I use indigenous fruits, roots, flowers to create alcohol concoctions. If you ask the French, they'll say, no, we don't make wines, we do something else, right? Because it's not grapes. But through gastronomy and food science, what I was able to do, even as I had that traditional knowledge and that insight from that book that my grandmother gave to me, I was able to look at it from a perspective of balance. Traditionally, local wines did not look at wines from the perspective of balance. So you have astringency, acidity, sweetness, the alcohol, everything that you balance together to create this amazing thing that you see here. If you look at the names, I use names that are interesting, that the names come from something, is the story of the wine, right? Say, for instance, you have the Sunset's Blush, right? That one is made from passion fruit, hibiscus petals, and the pomegranate. And it reminded me, the color of it reminded me of a sunset, Bloody Bay sunset. So I call it Sunset's Blush. For taro, that's the dasheen wine, and I call it taro because it's another name of dasheen. I didn't want to say dasheen. All right.
Yeah.
Then liquid moonlight, which is aloes and green apples, and it reminded me of moonlight on water, and it also reminded me of the like when my grandmother she was picking herbs, she would send us to pick herbs, and she would say the best time to pick herbs is at full moon. You get the best out of it, right? So all those things are layered in the story of my wine and in the presentation of it, and that is why I'm able to speak so coherently about it.
Yeah.
The stories of our products, very, very important in the selling point of it.
Yeah.
So yes.
Thank you, Stacey, for sharing that with us. A beautiful story this morning about the wines. And of course, you know, we are so happy to have had you on the show today. Well, thank you so much, Stacey. All the best. And I really hope that your ideas go forward and we can see something coming out of these. Have a beautiful morning, Stacey, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, take care. 6:48, we take a break. When we come back, more on Tobago.
Introducing the new Sun Mix Nut Bar. Available in 3 delicious flavors: granola raisin nut, almond cranberry crunch, and coconut almond crisp. All packed on a rich bed of dark chocolate.
Taste the good life, snack right. Taste the good life anytime. Good life, good life. Sun Mix.
Sunshine Snacks Sun Mix Nut Bar. Taste the good life.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون.
This powerful verse from the Holy Quran invites us to embrace reflection, self-discipline, and spiritual renewal. Join us daily on TTT Limited for special Ramadan features, inspiring messages, heartfelt moments of devotion, and reflections that uplift our nation.
Greetings, hello to you there, and welcome to the CZIT National Secondary Schools Climate Quiz. I'm your host, Sachin Ramsubag, and I am pleased to be part of this great initiative.
You are dearer to me than all the stars. So many wish but never reach. 'Cause when I'm falling and all the world seems dark, you help me find my peace. Oh, shun mi ba fishani. Oh, shun mi ba.
Now turning our focus to an issue that affects families across the Caribbean, but is not often talked about enough: brain health and dementia as well. Around the world, dementia and Alzheimer's disease are rising at alarming rates. In the Caribbean, cases are projected to increase significantly over the coming decades, affecting thousands of families and communities. But the conversation today is not about illness. It is really about prevention and strengthening the brain before crisis can begin. A new initiative in Tobago called Brain Boost Boot Camp is aiming to do just that. Well, this initiative is being hosted at the Lambo Seventh-day Adventist Church, and it is part of a wider effort to build what organizers are calling brain health ambassadors within the communities. Well, joining us this morning to tell us more about the program are Rhonda Baird, President of Resilient Health Communities, and Karen Bart Alexander, who's helping lead the Tobago Brain Boost Boot Camp pilot. Definitely a tongue twister. Good morning, ladies, and welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Well, Rhonda, let's begin with the bigger picture here. Why is brain health becoming such an important issue globally and especially in the Caribbean?
Great question. I can answer first from a personal basis, which is that it touched my own family. My dad recently passed after years of living with dementia. And the experience of having that in my life led to research and frankly, just the observation that this was impacting more and more families. It is the 7th leading cause of death worldwide and is the most expensive for families to care for because of its progressive and chronic nature, right? And so in realizing the impact and the reality that the projection is in the Caribbean, Tobago, that by 2050 rates will more than double, we decided we needed to do something about it.
Yeah. You know, people still refer to Alzheimer's as simply being senile, and that's something pretty offensive. Could you explain what Alzheimer's disease actually is and how it affects the brain over time?
Well, I'll start with explaining what dementia is. Dementia is an umbrella term for a variety of neurological disorders. Alzheimer's is simply the largest disease under the dementia umbrella. It affects maybe 60 to 70% of the dementia cases are Alzheimer's cases, right? And in Alzheimer's, we know that it's progressive, chronic, and ultimately causes a person to lose the ability to take care of their normal daily activities, feeding themselves, clothing themselves, appreciating how they can bathe and just care for themselves. And so it's that chronic nature that makes it such a crisis for us when we experience it. In families, it's been my experience that we have too little understanding of the disease when it happens. So I'll tell you what the fact that keeps me in this work is. By the time we see outward symptoms of Alzheimer's and most forms of dementia, the changes in the brain has been underway for decades, often as much as 20 years. So that prevention sounds like the best approach because we know there is currently no cure. The best drugs on the market can only slow progression. Nothing reverses. But if we could engage in simple activity to stimulate the brain, we can have real impact on delaying or hopefully preventing dementia, especially Alzheimer's.
Thank you so much, Rhonda. We need to take in the 7 a.m. news, but when we come back, we continue the conversation. And I want to touch on, especially, why is it important to start talking about it? Why is it important that Tobago and communities like Tobago start talking about brain health and dementia? And I want to resume that conversation with you, Ms. Bart Alexander. So when we come back on Trinidad and Tobago today, the conversation continues. We're talking about the Tobago Brain Boost Boot Camp pilot, and Carrie is coming up at the top of the hour with the major network news. I'll focus on Tobago this morning. Inside the next hour, we've got Ramadan, fasting, and diabetes. How do you do that safely?
you can like a picture, you can like a post or something, and so many other people can see that, right? You might comment on something and think, oh, you're just commenting, but so many other people can see that as well. So I think managing those types of behaviors are also important in a relationship, because while you may not be actively going out doing something, you might, for example, like a post or comment on something that is seemingly inappropriate, and that can cause some kind of friction in your relationship with your spouse.
Yes, you also cannot be naive. If you think by hiding from your spouse, by texting someone, or hiding from your spouse by by using social media, is hiding it from that person, it's open to the public.
Yeah.
So there's somebody else on the end of that text.
Receiving it.
Even
if it's an inbox and it's not public to everyone.
It's in the public domain.
Yes.
So if you're doing something that could violate the trust, the balance of your relationship, and there's another party involved, as you said, like direct messaging or texting, then you're leaving yourself open to exposure anyway.
The Marriage Confessional, only on TTT.
Ever wondered what happens before the lights come on? Before the crowd pours in? Before the magic hits the stage? This is your all-access pass. Sneak Peek with Junior K takes you behind the scenes of the biggest cultural moments and the hottest events across TNT. From the sound checks to the stage setups, from final rehearsals to exclusive interviews. If it's about to be big, we're already there. Catch Sneak Peek airing daily on TTT and relive every moment on all our social media platforms. Sneak Peek with Junior K, where the story starts before the spotlight.
More news, more access, more ways to stay informed. TTT News covers the stories that matter on air and online. Join us nightly at 7. TTT News, committed, accurate, relevant.
Good morning, this is your TTT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. Making the news at this time. Prime Minister Kamala Prasad-Bissessar has extended greetings to the Hindu community as they celebrate Phagwa, also known as Holi. In her message on Wednesday, she said Phagwa, through chowtal singing, community gatherings, and the sharing of abir, remains one of the most vibrant festivals in the Hindu calendar, and that TNT is no different, as the nation also comes alive with color, music, and fellowship. The Prime Minister noted that at its spiritual core, Phagwa commemorates the victory of righteousness through the story of Prahlad and Holika, a timeless reminder that truth ultimately prevails over tyranny. She said Phagwa speaks not only to faith, but also to the universal pursuit of human rights, equality, and respect for every individual. The Prime Minister also spoke about the colors of Phagwa, symbolizing renewal and reconciliation. In other news, National Quarries Company Limited is currently grappling with significant financial losses. The disclosure came from Chairman Ashmead Ghani as he appeared before Parliament's Public Accounts Enterprises Committee on Wednesday.
2020 to 2025, National Quarries recorded a total loss of $135,800,000. National Quarries received government subventions from years ended September 2022 to September 2025 to the sum of $154,570,000.
Chairman Ghani, whose board has been in place for only the past 2 months, said the company is also currently selling its products at a loss.
Producing at around $397 and selling it between $152 to $135, somewhere between there. The average cost of producing aggregate at our limestone quarry, where we use material for construction of roads and so on, the average cost is around $325. Our selling price, $155 to $150 per ton.
The Public Accounts Enterprises Committee's inquiry centered on a detailed examination of National Quarry's audited financial statements for the period 2016 to 2020. The chairman of the Sangre Grande Regional Corporation, Kenwin Phillip, expressed hope that the national program for the upkeep of public spaces will continue. Speaking exclusively to TTT News, he noted that the initiative has provided substantial support and made a significant positive impact on the community.
I must congratulate the Prime Minister on that vision. I must congratulate the Minister of Local Government, because for the first time in the history since I came in here, the first time we have all our recreation ground maintained simultaneously.
Mr. Phillip explained that the program has provided the much-needed human resources that the corporation needs.
And I would really keep lobbying with the minister for this to be expand the program so that the corporation, because we are understaffed, we are the largest region and we have a little over 600 workers, but our region need over 1,000 workers to ensure that we have a proper cycle for maintenance of these roads and things.
The 13-week pilot program began in December 2025 and is expected to end on March 15, 2026. On to some sport now. Trinidad and Tobago women's football team battled for a draw in Honduras at the 2025-2026 CONCACAF W qualifiers for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup. The hosts opened the scoring in the 9th minute through Alison Reed. Reed scored again in the 21st minute when she converted a cross from Evelyn Ordonez to register at the far post. Trinidad and Tobago reduced the deficit in the 41st when Keely Johnson converted a penalty kick following a Honduras handball in the box. Down 2-1 at the break, TNT upped the pressure in the second half and found the equalizer in the 87th minute, courtesy a Nikita Gosign penalty kick. The two nations will finish their participation in the World Cup qualifiers in April, with Trinidad and Tobago scheduled to face El Salvador in a winner-take-all match to define who qualifies. And that was your TTT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. After the break, we return to Trinidad and Tobago Today.
This Ramadan, join me, Charlene Lewis, for Ramadan Reflections, a weekly television series exploring meaningful conversations on fasting and the significance of the holy month. Airing every Tuesday at 8:05 p.m. on TTT, beginning Tuesday 24th February, we delve into real, relatable topics that inspire spiritual growth, discipline, and understanding during Ramadan. Let's reflect, learn, and grow together this blessed month.
So CTA say that they're doing the ABC of parenting, so I say I have to get in that. You know, anything with the ABCs, I like to get in that. I started with A for accountability. So you just mash up thing from a side when you get vexed, and then you surprised when you get called into the school for your child doing the same thing. Recognize that as a parent, you are one of the biggest influencers on your child's life. You have to acknowledge that your actions and choices can impact your child's development and growth. Take time to account for any consequences your actions may have on your child and always acknowledge that responsibility before saying or doing anything. Your actions speak louder than your words, but at the end of the day, do your best. Share if you found this useful and like and follow CTA's profile for more parenting tips as we go through the ABCs of parenting.
In a world filled with uncertainty, there is still hope. When the weight feels heavy and the night feels long, remember, your story isn't over. God's promises are still true, His love is still strong, and your breakthrough is still coming. Join us for Messages of Hope, Words of Encouragement with Pastor Jesse, presented by Youth Fires. Hope lives here, only on TTT.
Now listen, this is your boy Carlos Edwards, and as a former player, let me tell you, it's the fans, man. The fans that made the game, that's the 12th man right there. And when it comes to Trinidad and Tobago, there's only one 12th man you need to know. My guy, Andre L. Baptiste on TTT is bringing the heat every Tuesday.
Well, resuming our discussion this morning on the Tobago Brain Boost Boot Camp, we have with us Miss Rhonda Baird and Miss Karen Bart Alexander. So continuing the discussion, ladies, my next question for you is, why is it important for communities like Tobago to start talking about brain health and dementia right now?
Well, good morning, everybody. It is very important and it matters because memory loss affects independence, it affects people's dignity, it affects the family stability. It is a very traumatic experience when you have persons within your family having dementia. It becomes difficult. Social isolation also increases dementia risk, and it increases this risk by about 50%. So social isolation is something that we have to look out for. And in our society, sometimes we have a lot of social isolation that goes unnoticed. Then we have the fact that brain health is not only medical, it is also social and behavioral. So it can impact a society, it can impact a family very greatly. So prevention must begin early, and it must begin in a community-based kind of environment. And beginning in a community-based environment, what happens is that it reduces isolation. So this is why the Brain Boost Boot Camp is seeking to bring out the senior citizens, get them interacting with each other, get them having fellowship with each other, and in a way that helps to boost their brain health. Yes?
Yeah.
So we are focusing on prevention and practical tools because we recognize that even now we need to do some more work with the research and on the data concerning Alzheimer's, especially in Tobago. We have old figures that take in Trinidad and Tobago. But at the moment, we need really to focus on Tobago and focus on what is happening there with respect to Alzheimer's. We have up to 40% of dementia cases may be linked to modifiable risk factors. And this is what we are focusing on, modifying those risk factors that may assist people to get Alzheimer's disease.
Yeah. Ms. Baird, we actually hear that lifestyle habits, as we're speaking about those factors, can also influence your brain health. How much of the dementia risk is actually connected to things that we can change in our daily lives?
Conservatively, go ahead, Rhonda.
Conservatively, experts believe as much as 40%, but I've seen credible experts suggest as much as 60% of our lifestyle impacts or dementia. So if we could, for example, start becoming physically active, mentally stimulate our brains, like using the habits we'll teach at boot camp, watching nutrition and hydration, managing our stress. There's something we don't talk about often, but protecting the brain from any injury. So wearing protective helmets, for example, if you're going bike riding, there's so many simple things that we can do, but often we're entrenched in our habits. And so we found that when we spend time in community where there's accountability and support, we're more likely to succeed in changing the things in our lives that increases our risks. So we can participate in living independently as long as possible by staying mentally and cognitively sharp.
Ladies, on a closing note, for those who may be willing to participate or wanting to participate, how can they register for the Brain Boost Bootcamp? When does it begin? How long does it last? And how can they, get involved?
Okay. It begins on March 15th at the Lambeau Seventh-day Adventist Church, and it starts at 3 p.m. in the evening. Persons can pre-register by calling 702-2297. 702-2297. It is going to be an exciting 6 weeks. It begins at 3 p.m. in the evening. An exciting 6 weeks of practicing brain health habits. And those brain health habits are reading aloud, simple math done quickly, and writing by hand. And you'd be amazed at the content of the reading aloud and the handwriting, because that content is inspirational, it is transformative, and it is educational. So it's not boring. It's not by any means boring. And the elderly will enjoy having fellowship with each other and at the same time increasing and boosting their brain health. So we encourage you, especially community leaders and people who lead groups, community groups, and so we are encouraging you to come out, because we do not intend to, monopolize this program. What we want to do is have it very community based, have people run with it through the communities. So again, the number is 702-2297. You can call to pre-register, but you can also come in on the day, Sunday, March the 15th at 3 p.m. and you can register there as well.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us this morning. Miss Rhonda Baird and Karen Bart Alexander. We're talking all about Tobago Brain Boost Bootcamp, and I'm sure you can get information on social media as well. Well, thank you, ladies. I hope you have a wonderful day and a successful bootcamp for the brain.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, any fans of Macbeth out there? Well, Shakespeare. This one definitely brings back some memories of studying Macbeth in secondary school. Well, if you are a huge Shakespeare or Macbeth fan, the Oratory Foundation is presenting Shakespeare's Macbeth. And this is taking place on Friday, 6th March. That's tomorrow, Friday, 6th March, 2026. It starts at 7 p.m. It's at the Naparima Bowl in San Fernando. So that's Shakespeare's Macbeth. If you are a fan, maybe a student studying or studied Shakespeare, or you just really want to check this out, it is a wonderful opportunity for you to do that. It's the National Oratory Foundation, and it's Macbeth. Remember, that's tomorrow. Naparima Bowl, Friday, 6th March, 2026. Tickets are only $200. You can get your tickets at RIK Bookstore, High Street, and Gulf City Mall. The time now, 7:15. When we come back, we talk a little bit about Ramadan, fasting, and diabetes. The link. How do you safely fast for Ramadan when you are diabetic, or you just want to ensure that you don't spike your insulin levels? We'll talk about that with Safia Islam when we come back.
You could like a picture, you could like a post or something, and so many other people can see that, right? You might comment on something and think, oh, we just commented, but so many other people can see that as well. So I think managing those types of behaviors are also important in a relationship, because while you may not be actively going out doing something, you might for example, like a post or comment on something that is seemingly inappropriate, and that can cause some kind of friction in your relationship with your spouse.
Yes, you also cannot be naive. If you think by hiding from your spouse, by texting someone, or hiding from your spouse by doing by using social media is hiding it from that person. It's open to the public.
Yeah.
So there's somebody else on the end of that text.
Receiving it.
On the
Whether,
receiving
even
end,
if it's an inbox and it's not public
it's in
to
the
everyone.
it's in the public domain.
Yes.
So if you're doing something that could violate the trust, the balance of your relationship, and there's another party involved, as you said, like direct messaging or texting, then you're leaving yourself open to exposure anyway.
The Marriage Confessional, only on TTT.
You ever tried talking to your child and there's a total and complete misunderstanding and it turns out into a shouting match? Be mindful of what you say and, more importantly, how you say what you say. Today I want to share with you just a few thoughts on communication. To build healthy parent-child relations, communication is not an option. Effective communication is the lifeblood of good relationship between parents and children. Please listen attentively to your child. Everyone hears, but not everybody listens. Listen actively. Use language they can understand. Use language that is appropriate for their age. And make sure that when you're speaking, be very clear and be very, very specific. So what does behave good means? What does stop behaving badly means? Be very clear and be very specific. Please do not use any derogatory words to them at all, at all, at all. Use kind language because that helps to set a positive tone in the house. Express your feelings and your satisfaction to the situation. And of course, please encourage your children to do so as well. Remember, the conversation should be, children, we love you. We love you and we respect you. Do the best you can is all that you can do. Be mindful of what you say and how you say it. If you found this useful, please share and like and follow our profile for more parenting tips. The letter for today is C for communication.
We're now on day 16 of fasting during the holy month of Ramadan, a sacred period observed by Muslims around the world through fasting, prayer, reflection, and community. From dawn until sunset, Muslims abstain from food and drink as part of this spiritual discipline. But while fasting has many spiritual and social benefits, it can also present unique health considerations, particularly for people living with diabetes. For individuals managing diabetes, long hours without food, changes in meal timing, and the shift to two main meals, suhoor before dawn and iftar at sunset, can affect your blood sugar levels and overall health. Well, today we're discussing how people with diabetes can approach fasting safely during the month of Ramadan and the importance of making informed health decisions during this holy month. Joining us now is registered dietitian Sophia Islam, who'll guide us through some of the key considerations for managing diabetes during Ramadan. Sophia, assalamu alaikum and welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you for this opportunity.
All right, Sophia, so let's get started. And before we talk about the medical side of things, could you briefly explain the significance of fasting, from your perspective during Ramadan, and why is it such an important pillar of the Islamic faith?
Sure. So fasting in Ramadan, this is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, and it was commanded in the Quran by Allah. He said that, "O you who believe, fasting is prescribed for you as it was prescribed for those before you, so that we may gain God consciousness." So seeing that is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, it means that it is obligatory for us to carry out this command, right? And the purpose of this is for self-discipline, to gain closeness to Allah. So we basically do not have nothing to eat from dawn to sunset, and we cannot engage in like certain physical activities, right? So it is one of the most sacred months in the Islamic calendar, and yes, should be observed by Muslims who could partake in it.
Sophia, I want to shift the conversation now to diabetes. And one of the biggest questions people have is whether someone who's living with diabetes can safely observe the fast Ramadan. Is fasting recommended for everyone with diabetes, or are there situations where it may not be advisable?
Okay, so yes, diabetics can fast. However, they will have to know their medical history and their condition. So persons with uncontrollable diabetes will be exempted from observing the fast, right? So persons who are like having hypo or hyperglycemia, which is either highs or low, are exempted from fasting, right? Now, I would advise persons before undertaking the fast to get advice from their medical doctor, medical practitioner, as they would know the medical history of the patient and they would be better able to, give the final answer on whether it is safe for the person to fast or not.
Sophia, I want to talk about suhoor. That's the pre-dawn meal, right? So for someone living with diabetes, what should that meal look like so that they can maintain a stable blood sugar reading throughout the day?
Right. So the pre-dawn meal is very important. This is the first meal we having for the day. And this meal should be able to sustain our energy levels throughout the day because we don't want to have crashes, dizziness, fatigue, headaches, and so on. So I would suggest that persons have a balanced diet, meaning complex carbohydrates. So we have, in for example, complex carbohydrates will be those like brown rice, whole wheat roti, rolled oats. And the reason for this is because these complex carbohydrates are low in glycemic index and they are high in fiber. Fiber helps to manage and stabilize blood sugar levels, right? Then we have protein, right? And proteins helps to slow the absorption of sugar into the bloodstream. So we should consider lean protein. So choices such as chicken, fish, turkey, right? Rather than the red meats, which are high in saturated fats. And we should have our vegetables. Now, vegetables contain fiber, vitamins, and minerals. And we need energy for, throughout the day to carry on our work. So I would suggest that you balance your meal by having quarter of your plate from the staples group or the complex carbohydrates, a quarter of lean protein, right? And for those who are vegetarian, legumes such as peas and beans also is a source of protein, right? So persons who are not having meat, they could have like chickpea, lentil, red beans, their choice. And a half of their plate should be from vegetables. Also, I would like to touch on a bit of hydration. Water intake is also important, right? So having enough water before you start the fast. And also persons could include hydrating foods such as cucumbers and watermelon as well during, suhoor.
Yeah, and Sophia, what about breaking the fast now at sunset with iftar? What would you recommend as a healthy way for someone with diabetes to approach that meal?
So someone with diabetes, I would suggest breaking a fast. Well, traditionally, and I notice it have a lot of medical benefits as well. This breaking a fast with a date and water, right? Dates have natural sugar. So after this long period of fasting for 8 to 9 hours, our body is low in sugar. It is depleted in energy. So we want to, dates have natural sugars. It also have stuff like potassium, other key nutrients that I would recommend a date, right? And not like 3, 4, and 5, probably just 1 or 2 dates and some water. And then after that, you could give yourself a break for 10 to 15 minutes and then proceed to have any dinner. So if that is really the meal that what you consume to break the fast with.
Sophia, so during fasting hours, are people with diabetes allowed to check their blood sugar levels? Will that break their fast if they do that?
Yes, they are allowed to. It will not break the fast. So yes, persons can check their levels during the day.
So there is an app, I believe, called the Diabetes and Ramadan app, and this was created by the Diabetes and Ramadan International Alliance. Tell us a little bit about this app and why is it useful at this time?
So, as I said, some guidelines, right, were developed by the International Diabetes Federation together with the Diabetes and Ramadan International Alliance, DAR. So it is an app, and there's a Ramadan risk score used to assess whether a person can fast safely during this month. So basically, it is a useful tool to help persons living with diabetes know their status on the safety of fasting, right? Also, a series, you would have to input, the patient would have to input a series of answer a series of questions, such as the type of diabetes the patient have, type 1, type 2, medication regime, health, medical history, right? And based on this now, a score would be generated, a risk score, right? And this score would tell you if you are low, moderate, or high. Now, low risk, usually it is safe to fast with medical advice. So you keep up, check with your doctor prior to the fast, as I said, probably some weeks before. Right, moderate, possibly you can fast, but it requires close monitoring. And moderate is high risk is advised, you're advised not to fast.
Yeah. Sophia, also, we're just on day 16 of Ramadan, so there's still quite some days of fasting ahead. What advice would you give to people living with diabetes who want to continue their fast safely for the rest of the month?
So I would advise person to monitor their blood sugars, right? We do not want to have any highs or any lows. We want it to be moderate. Choose meal planning is very important. Choose high fiber foods, moderate protein, a lot of vegetables, hydrate as well. And so you complete your plate by having a complex carbohydrates, you have a lean protein, and half of your plate should be vegetables, right? And you check throughout the day if persons are feeling unwell, dizzy, tired, or they are getting symptoms of either high or low. It is recommended for them to check their blood sugar, and if it is at an extreme, they can break their fast.
All right, Sophia, thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope you have a successful fast for the rest of the month of Ramadan. I know you have to get to work very early this morning. So I also hope that you feel better and you'll join us in studio very soon.
No problem. Thank you.
Take care and have a beautiful day. The time now, 7:29 a.m. Don't forget, Shakespeare's Macbeth is happening tomorrow. That's the 6th of March, tomorrow, Friday. It takes place at the Naparima Bowl at 7 p.m. That's the Oratory Foundation. They're putting that on for you. So if you are a Macbeth fan, a Shakespeare fan, this one is definitely for you. Tickets, $200, available at RIK Bookstore, High Street, and Gulf City Mall. Shakespeare's Macbeth by the Oratory Foundation tomorrow at 7 p.m. at the Naparima Bowl, San Fernando. Well, when we come back, the conversation continues. It's really a packed day, and we are focusing on Tobago once again on Trinidad and Tobago Today.
The Mother Church of the Anglican Diocese suffered significant damage during the earthquake of 2018. Efforts are underway to raise funds to restore this national heritage site. You are invited to make your donations with monthly deposits at any branch of the First Citizens Bank, account number 2696950, Marval Road Branch, in the name of the Incorporated Trustees of the Anglican Holy Trinity Cathedral Restoration.
In a world filled with uncertainty, there is still hope. When the weight feels heavy and the night feels long, remember, your story isn't over. God's promises are still true, His love is still strong, and your breakthrough is still coming. Join us for Messages of Hope, Words of Encouragement with Pastor Jesse, presented by Youth Fires. Hope lives here, only on TTT.
I'm Renee Sion with another edition of Caribbean Week in Review.
Greetings, hello to you there, and welcome to the CSIT National Secondary Schools Climate Quiz. I'm your host, Sachin Ramsubag, and I am pleased to be part of this great initiative.
Hey young ones, TTT's Terrific Toon Time is just for you. It's fun, it's exciting, and it's adventure-filled too. Join us as we follow the characters you know and love. See what our hero Zack gets up to in Super Z. Dive into the action with Bugs Butt Ignition. Put on your explorer's cap and join Dada and Dada on their next adventure. And of course, we can't forget our cosmic friends on Galaxy Kids. Don't miss it. It's Terrific Toon Time only on TTT.
About the powerful connection between music, healing, and mental health. Well, for many of us, music is something we enjoy for relaxation or entertainment, but in the field of healthcare, music can actually be used as well as a therapeutic tool to support emotional well-being, cognitive development, communication, and social connection. Music therapy is actually an evidence-based practice that uses musical experiences to help individuals achieve their specific therapeutic goals. Well, in Tobago, music therapy is beginning to gain greater recognition thanks to the work of Cheyenne Melville, a board-certified music therapist and founder of Harmonies and Healing Music Therapy, the first music therapy practice on the island. Well, she joins us now via Zoom to talk about the growing role of music therapy in supporting mental health development. Cheyenne, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning and thank you for having me.
Well, Cheyenne, we were able to start with a little clip, and that was such a beautiful one, and it really set the tone this morning for this discussion. Well, many people love music, but they may not fully understand what music therapy actually involves. So, how would you define that for us, and how is it different from simply just listening to music?
All right, so I think you would have started on a good note by explaining what it is. Music therapy is the clinical use of music and its elements to meet non-musical goals. So those goals can be something cognitively related, physical, communication, emotional, and the list goes on, even spiritual. So the difference between just listening to music and actually music therapy is that you have an actual clinical professional working alongside with you. You are assessed and you have interventions that are created and designed specifically for your needs.
Cheyenne, what made you pursue music therapy as a profession and eventually bring it to Tobago?
All right, so when I was doing my first degree at the University of Trinidad and Tobago, I got the opportunity to work with people with disabilities. And I quickly realized that is where my heart was. And I also got some little nudges from some of my professors, and they encouraged me to consider the field of music therapy. I returned home to Tobago and I was able to work at School for the Deaf, Speech and Language Impaired. And while I was there, I noticed how impactful the music was for the students there. And that was when I really decided that I wanted to move abroad to study music therapy and bring it back home to Tobago.
So you also founded Harmonies and Healing Music Therapy, which is the first practice of its kind in Tobago. So congratulations on that. What services do you provide or this practice offers, and who are the people that you work with?
All right. So I would say I mainly focus on people with disabilities, but I can work and I do work with everyone. So it's not just limited to people with disabilities, but they are my priority because they are usually forgotten about. So I do individual sessions, I do group sessions, I go out to schools, I work with community groups, and you can also come in to my practice and work with me as well.
So you spoke about working with neurodivergent children and adults and those with complex needs. How can music therapy actually help individuals with autism, developmental differences, or any communication challenges?
All right. So one easy example. Music is an easy way to connect with others. Sometimes we might not be able to express ourselves verbally, and maybe there's a song that can describe how we are feeling, or we can use an instrument to really depict our emotions. So for persons with autism, they might have challenges explaining how they are feeling, explaining their wants. And in a music therapy setting, it gets a little easier when we incorporate that musical aspect.
Yeah, and I think your approach also blends evidence-based therapy methods with, I'm told, Caribbean music heritage. So how do, the local musical traditions play a role in the work that you do?
Well, for me, it's very important, especially as someone who would have studied abroad. Most of the knowledge that I would have received would not have included a lot of our music. So I make it my duty to center my work around our culture and our music.
Yeah, and you've worked in every special education institution in Tobago. I'm right about that, right? How important is music therapy in educational settings, especially for children with special needs? And how does it support their mental health and their emotional regulation? I really want to expand on that.
All right. So coming back to what I had said earlier, music is a really easy way to connect with persons. It's a way for persons to express themselves when they have challenges communicating verbally. So I would say it is important that music therapy should be in schools. I think it's growing slowly, but I believe that we will get there eventually and people would understand the impact. In terms of education, we can use music therapy to help with, believe it or not, mathematics, reading, things like that. So, yes.
But this is not just... It's not just to help children as well, but you can also help adults, right?
Yes, certainly.
And is this some work that you do or you've worked in, perhaps?
Yeah, so actually, most of my work abroad, I would have worked with people, older persons, so the elderly.
Oh, that's really interesting. And how does that differ from working with children?
So the needs and the goals will be different. My goals with older persons would be centered around maybe reminiscing, because most of them, they had dementia. So reminiscing, helping with memory recollection and things like that.
Yeah. Cheyenne, in many Caribbean communities, Trinidad and Tobago, there's still a stigma, or there can still be a stigma around seeking help for mental health. And you do so much work in this regard. Do you think that music therapy can help to create maybe a more accessible and welcoming pathway, I would say, for people to receive support for this?
Yes, I always tell persons music therapy is not like your typical psychotherapy where you come and you sit on the couch and you have someone take notes and it's a little intimidating. So in music therapy, we are both, let's say, enjoying the experience. We are both playing together, we are both listening different songs together, we are both having discussions. So it makes it easier for the person to let their guard down a bit and really open up and feel
Shan,
comfortable.
what's your vision for the growth of music therapy in Tobago, and not just Tobago, but the wider Caribbean?
Well, I would like to see a lot more of music therapy around Tobago and by extension the Caribbean. I am hoping that persons are encouraged to go into this field as well because there's only a few of us. I'm the only one in Tobago, but there are a few in Trinidad as well. So I'm hoping that we have more persons becoming interested in the field so that we can have more clinical practitioners.
Well, finally, Cheyenne, for families, schools, or individuals, anyone may be interested in learning more about harmonies and healing music therapy, how can they find out more and how can they get in contact with you?
All right. So on social media, it's Harmonies and Healing Music Therapy, and my contact number is 702-8755.
Thank you very, very much, Cheyenne Melville, for joining us all the way in Tobago. That connection between music, healing, and mental health. And congratulations on all your amazing work. We wish you all the best, and we can't wait to see and hear where you go with this.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great day. A time check for you, 17 minutes before 8 o'clock. Remember, Macbeth is happening tomorrow. Shakespeare's Macbeth. It is the Oratory Foundation that's taking place at the Naparima Bowl tomorrow, Friday 6th, and it's 7 p.m. If you are interested, tickets are on sale at the RIK Bookstore, High Street, and Gulf City Mall. And also, if you have a story idea, a press release, you want to get in touch with us, maybe you want to advertise with us, well, you can do that. Send us an email via ttt@ttt.co.tt. And of course, for all the stories that you see here and more, you can always access all of this via TTT online. Once again, that's ttt@ttt.co.tt and our social media channels, TTT online. Well, when we come back, we continue with some music and culture in Tobago. We feature 16-year-old Jada on Trinidad and Tobago Today.
One day I was out playing with my friend Kevin and he was really moody. Kinda sad and angry at the same time. I asked him what was the matter. Someone in his family had been doing mean things to him. He said he had to keep it a secret. So I asked Kevin, is it a good secret or a bad secret? He said he didn't know. I explained good secrets are cool things like a surprise party or a gift for a special occasion. A bad secret is when someone hurts or harms you and tells you not to tell anyone. Sometimes they might give you little things to make sure you don't tell. That's another bad secret to keep. That's mean and controlling. Kevin said it definitely fell into the bad secret category. I felt this was something an adult should help with. Because as a child, when someone hurts you, you can feel really alone and afraid. And the best people to help you are the ones you love and really, really trust. I asked him if there was any adult that he trusted. So we worked up a little plan for Kevin to talk to one of them. A while after that, I could see my friend was doing much better. Now we tell all our pals about good secrets and bad secrets so that we can all feel brave, safe, and strong. Break the silence. Child abuse is one secret you should never keep.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون.
This powerful verse from the Holy Quran invites us to embrace reflection, self-discipline, and spiritual renewal. Join us daily on TTT Limited for special Ramadan features, inspiring messages, heartfelt moments of devotion, and reflections that uplift our nation.
Greetings, hello to you there, and welcome to the CZIT National Secondary Schools Climate Quiz. I'm your host, Sachin Ramsubag, and I am pleased to be part of this great initiative.
say leave, Lord, you say no. So tell me, what am I to do when I can see who's really who? Ways behind smiling faces, my insecurity slowly replaces my confidence, my smile. Please, Lord, I need you here a while. But you promised for my good, you did it all for my good. What my enemies meant for evil, you turn it around for my good. Oh, for my good, you did it all for my good. What my enemies meant for evil, God turned it around for my good. Friend or foe, I say leave, Lord, you say no. So tell me, what am I to do when I can see who's really who? Face behind smiling faces, my insecurity slowly replaces my confidence, my smile. Please, Lord, I need you here a while.
The beautiful Jada George, just 17 years old. This gifted gospel vocalist from Signal Hill, Tobago. Good morning, Jada.
Good morning.
You are such a successful young lady. I understand that you placed first in Tobago Star Quest, and that was in 2024? 2025. And can you put the mic a little closer? Yes. And then also you won top honors in the TNT Music Festival in 2024. So you've been really, really busy. And also you are mentored by your beautiful mommy who's here with us this morning. Good morning, mommy. Delissa Wilson George, and a proud member of Divine Voices as well. So Jada, you continue to uplift your audiences. Everyone loves your voice. You're on your social media platforms as well. Tell me a little bit about your journey, how you started doing this.
Well, I started
with music, it was kind of I didn't have a choice. Music chose me.
Yeah.
Everywhere I look, left and right is music. I was surrounded by music. My mom, uncles, my father, just family in general, and then church as well.
Yeah.
So I was just constantly surrounded by music.
And tell me about the influence that your mommy had on you.
Well, my personality is that I'm very shy and to myself, and my mom is very out there. So most times, just watching her sing it just inspired me a lot. And she, most times, was the one to say, Jada, come, do this, do that. Don't just sit on your talent. The Lord didn't bless her with this talent for you to just sit and sing in the shower or sing at home. It was to, just be a minister.
Yeah.
For people.
And all the success you've had, like the Trinidad and Tobago Music Festival, these honors, and then you were also balancing that with being in school at that time. How was that for you?
It was very challenging at first because I was missing school sometimes. So, but my teachers were a great help. Most times I had makeup classes, and it was just my teachers and my family as well had a big part to play when it came to me and school, and just studying with my friends online, and it was hectic, but I made it through.
So Jada, what are your plans for the future? What can we look forward to musically from you, and in general, your plans?
Currently I'm at Napa studying music. I want to become a music teacher for younger children.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because when I think about it, as a young child, your mind is like a clean slate. So you're like a sponge, you're soaking up everything around you. So music is most times offered in preschool levels, like just record and not more theory. And you most times get in depth with music in high school. And for me, it was challenging because theory wasn't something that I started off with. It was just singing and that was it. So for me, I just want to make it easier for the youth so that when whoever chooses to do music in high school, it would be so much easier because they would then now know, the basics of music. And
yeah. All right. Well, Jada, you have the opportunity to close the show for us. I believe you're going to be performing I Speak Jesus. And we get to do that and leave you on a beautiful and inspiring note this morning. Thank you for joining us. All eyes on Tobago today. We're so happy to share the show with our sister Al Tobago. Thanks to everyone making it all possible. Good morning as well to Sophia, our producer in Tobago. That's it for Trinidad and Tobago today. Catch you tomorrow, Friday, where we do this all over again at 6 a.m. Jada.
I just want to speak the name of Jesus over every heart and every mind. 'Cause I know there is peace when there is freedom. I speak Jesus. I just want to speak the name of Jesus over fear and all anxiety, declaring there is hope and there is freedom. I speak Jesus, 'cause your name is power, your name is healing, your name is life. Break every stronghold, shine through the shadows, burn like a fire. I just want to speak the name of Jesus over fear and all anxiety, declaring there is hope and there is freedom. I speak Jesus. shadows burn like a fire. Your name is power. Your name is healing. Your name is life. Break every stronghold. Shine through the shadows. Burn like a fire. Shout Jesus from the mountains, Jesus in the streets, Jesus in the darkness over every enemy. Jesus for my family, I speak the holy name, Jesus. Oh, oh, shout Jesus from the mountain.
This Ramadan, join me, Charlene Lewis, for Ramadan Reflections, a weekly television series exploring meaningful conversations on fasting and the significance of the holy month. Airing every Tuesday at 8:05 p.m. on TTT, beginning Tuesday 24th February, we delve into real, relatable topics that inspire spiritual growth, discipline, and understanding during Ramadan. Let's reflect, learn, and grow together this blessed month.
Every morning begins with a story, the headlines you need, the voices you trust, the conversations shaping our nation. Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago Today, where your day starts informed and inspired. News that matters to you, conversations that spark new ideas, stories that move Trinidad and Tobago forward. Tune in weekdays, Monday to Friday at 6 a.m. or join the conversation on any smart device at TNT Today Show. Trinidad and Tobago Today. Start here, exclusively on TTT.
Good morning, this is your TTT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. Making the news at this time. The fires that have been blazing in the northern range since Wednesday are being tackled by the Fire Service of Trinidad and Tobago. TTT News contacted Fire Sub-Officer Jude Rogers, who is part of the team working tirelessly to bring the blazes under control. He explained that officers remain on the ground assessing the situation and coordinating efforts to contain the fires. Mr. Rogers added that a comprehensive report will be provided later once the relevant data from the emergency operations has been gathered and properly compiled. TTT News will continue to monitor developments and provide updates as more information becomes available. In more news, security in Tobago has been maintained at an optimum level, according to Assistant Commissioner of Police for the Tobago Division, Michael Pei. He noted that law enforcement officers continue to monitor activities across the island and implement strategies aimed at ensuring the safety of residents and visitors. Speaking on the Trinidad and Tobago Today morning show, Mr. Pei said there is still room for adjustments to further strengthen and maintain safety across the island.
We can do certain little adjustments, but at present, we are all out there functioning, and we have a good security system on the island because we correlate with all the other security agencies to perform our duties in the Tobago Division.
According to Superintendent Mark Joseph, Tobago remains largely unaffected by the prison-linked crime networks currently impacting Trinidad. Despite this, the TTPS Tobago Division continues to monitor the situation closely to intercept any potential threats.
Right. To date, we have not observed evidence that such influences are driving criminal activity here in Tobago in the same way as they are reported to do in Trinidad. That said, we remain attentive and we exchange real-time intelligence with the correctional and national security agencies so that we are aware of and we can disrupt any attempts by external actors to influence local criminality.
In other news, valuation fraud is among the challenges confronting the Customs and Excise Division. Comptroller of Customs and Excise, Riyad Juman, highlighted this issue during a sitting of the Joint Select Committee of Parliament on Wednesday. He told Parliament's Joint Select Committee that the division is currently upgrading its automated system for customs data, or ASICUDA, as part of ongoing efforts to tackle valuation-related fraud.
There's a major issue that we have with inconsistent values. Valuation fraud is a big problem that the customs faces. At one of the previous committees like this I sat, there was overvaluation being an issue there.
Mr. Juman explained that investigations conducted by the Customs and Excise Division have highlighted just how widespread the issue has become.
Every importer that brings in their items have paid the proper price for it. But when I have my valuation officers in there doing due diligence, finding that the established, how this phrase it needing? Acceptable norms of values for the items identical or similar, being way above that, and in quite a few instances, the actual invoices are provided by or are revealed during our investigations. We see exactly how prevalent valuation fraud is.
Mr. Juman said that the Valuations Department is highly specialized, and while all officers receive general training, they then undergo additional focus training within the Valuations Department. In sport now, Trinidad and Tobago women's football team battled for a draw in Honduras at the 2025-2026 CONCACAF W qualifiers for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup. The hosts opened the scoring in the 9th minute through Alison Reed. Reed scored again in the 21st minute when she converted a cross from Evelyn Ordonez to register at the far post. Trinidad and Tobago reduced the deficit in the 41st when Katie Johnson converted a penalty kick following a Honduras handball in the box. Down 2-1 at the break, TNT upped the pressure in the second half and found the equalizer in the 87th minute, courtesy a Nikita Gosain penalty kick. The two nations will finish their participation in the World Cup qualifiers in April, with Trinidad and Tobago scheduled to face El Salvador in a winner-take-all match to define who qualifies. And that was your TTT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. From all of us here, have a great day.
This is TTT. Live for local. Carrie's Kitchen, powered by Food Hall. Grocery made greater. Ibis, a tradition of excellence. Caribbean flavors. In the heart of every kitchen. Lotus, the confidence to create. Correga Garden Supplies. Good and natural. Indie, spice up your life. Distributed by Edward B.B. Harry. Champion, always a winner. Distributed by Edward B.B. Harry. Lion, the power behind our great taste traditions.